Okay, so the topic we're discussing today is specifically, I want to make sure I say it right. So the theme of all these kind of business type classes is how to rocket network marketing. Specifically today, we're doing how to talk about Young Living. We kind of want to always have this theme of like without being weird, without being salesy, like kind of attached to the end of that. And so we're going to be talking about how to not do the whole like we've already talked about like not doing the hey girl text message and just kind of like randomly reaching out to people. There are actually really good ways to do that, so you don't always need to feel like you have to have this like full-blown conversation, but that's like a separate topic. So today we're kind of taking a step away from the like blunt messages, blunt statements that you absolutely can do, and if you do them well, go for it. We're kind of stepping into more of the casual conversations, everyday conversations you're having with somebody where Young Living can come up, whether it be in person or social media. Okay, so that's kind of the area we're touching on. So we're not saying you can never ever be blunt and just kind of go for it. We're saying that's not what we're talking about today. Okay, so we're going to kind of start off with having you raise your hand. Okay, if you feel weird or unnatural about talking about anything to do with Young Living. Anybody feel that? It's weird, it's unnatural, you're not really sure how to like make it happen, you feel a little bit awkward when you do anything. Raise your hand. Yes, no, maybe. Okay. So raise your hand if you're like, you know what, I feel pretty comfortable with it, but I'm excited to learn some new skills because why not? Because there's that too. Sweet. Okay. So we kind of got like a mixture, a really good mixture in my opinion. So some of us are going to refine our skills, learn a little bit of new stuff. Others are we're going to make you so confident you don't even think twice about it. In 2 months, you're going to be going, oh my gosh, look at me. So that's kind of where we're going. Okay, so I wanted to touch on something really quick to be thinking about, which is our Dream 500 program. This is a way for people to win a trip to Bora Bora. But there's also a way to win $1,000 worth of free oils, and it doesn't matter what ranking you are and that kind of stuff. That is 40 points. There are different ways that you gain those 40 points. A lot of that you're going to gain by enrolling a member and getting them on ER. Okay, so that's going to be where you get a lot of your points and that kind of stuff. And you know what's going to help you make that happen? Having normal conversations with people. Enter this class. So that's kind of why I wanted to like say it, mention it, bring it up. And by me, I mean Hannah put that in the script, so I'm talking about it. But
because I write the notes.
But I think that's so applicable. Like when you think about, okay, I want to get this $1,000 worth of free oils. I mean, and some of the oils that I'm like, I don't know when I'll ever buy rose oil. I mean, that's just like, that is a true luxury, purchase. But if I can stick and win it, I'm going to try. So everything we're applying today kind of have that like gumption in you, that oomph, behind it of like, I'm going to win those oils and I'm going to earn those oils, and I'm going to do it by taking away all this information. So that's kind of what we're hitting on today. Hannah's apparently got a comment on that, and she's going to get us started with the basics. So
no, I'm just super hyped to win $1,000 worth of oils. So we're going to start with the basics. Like Sophie was saying, you can be blunt and you can have like very straightforward conversations, but we're talking about like normal, like the norm of what you're going to do. So these are some of the basics. The first thing is that it starts with relationships. So you wouldn't just like randomly start a conversation with anybody on any topic, really. You would be their friend first and try to talk to them about something. So it starts with relationships, which kind of goes into the second point, which is the mindset behind, if you were a person that raised your hand and you're like, yeah, I feel weird or unnatural, you really need to get over that, because you're not weird if you're talking about Young Living, especially if you have relationships with the people that you are talking to. If you're just like talking to somebody that you went to high school with and you haven't talked to them in 6 years and you randomly start talking to them about Young Living, that's weird. But if you have a relationship and you've maintained a relationship with that person, or you've started up a relationship again, whatever, that's not weird. So you kind of have to get over the mindset of you thinking it's weird for that reason. And then also the reason of, we love this stuff, we use this stuff. It's just normal for us to bring it up in conversation. It's just like if we were telling somebody about our favorite pair of jeans, where we get them from, our favorite grocery store we go to, our favorite movie we went and saw. Like, if you keep it that way, it's not weird. The next thing is, the biggest thing that you need to do when you're talking to people about Young Living is actually, you need to stop talking and you need to listen. because how do you know if they need Young Living if you don't listen to what they actually need? So listen to what their issues are. Listen to what, why do they need these products? What is it's called pain point. So what can they use these products for? So we have to listen first. Along with that, there's two things. The first thing is when you are ready, like you've listened to them, you've heard what they have to say, you're ready to actually, have that conversation back and forth. Do not feel like you have to know everything. So you don't have to know every single Young Living product under the sun. There's like 600 or 700 products. I've not used them all. I don't know them all. But Sophie and I were talking earlier, if you have a good knowledge of like some core things. So we were talking about if somebody's telling you they have just some overall kind of health issues, energy, immune support, things like that, what's my go-to I'm going to talk about? Ningxia Red. I'm going to talk to them about Ningxia Red. Honestly, I was like, you got gut issues, Ningxia Red. You got a paper
Acne.
cut, Ningxia Red.
Headache, energy problem. I said acne.
Ningxia Red. Like, I'm going to but honestly, it's great for skin stuff too. Ningxia Red is just a great thing. I fully believe that everybody needs Ningxia Red. So it's going to come up in conversation. If somebody's telling me they have gut issues, what's my first thing I'm going to think of? What did you say?
I said Ningxia Red or Life 9.
Life 9. Yeah. Okay. Life 9. If somebody's telling you that they have hormone, like they have all these kinds of things that you're like, it sounds like you have hormone issues, which a lot of women do because we use crap products that have hormone disrupting ingredients.
Progestins Plus.
So once you have like this basic, like I have just several products that I know really well, you don't have to know every single product. And if people ask you questions and you don't know the answer, I'm really good at just saying, good question. I don't know the answer to that, but let me find information. And I always let them know where I get that information from too, because I don't want to be caught treating, diagnosing, curing anybody. And I want them to know that there are resources that they themselves can use too, that it's not just, oh, I'm a wealth of knowledge. They can do it too.
And I feel like sometimes too, we kind of get in this mode of like, we have to know everything in that exact moment. Like a follow-up text is not allowed. You know what I mean? And we're going to talk about that, I promise. But I think it's kind of important to think through that, like, you don't have to know everything because it's not like you'll never see that person ever again. This is not some like debate about, whatever, where you're never going to want to talk about it, some political something. It's like, I have to get all my points in right now. It is a normal conversation where you can go, hey, I was looking it up the other day and I found this and we were talking about this the other day. That's normal. Like,
so true. And another thing that I recently kind of had an aha moment about is if you make it seem like you have to know everything in order to use oils or use these products, people are going to be overwhelmed by that and go, I could never use those products because I could never know all that to be able to use it, which means you're not duplicating. You're not making people who want to use these products because you make it look really hard. So you don't have to know everything. Nobody needs to know how to use everything. And the next thing that kind of goes along with that is when you're talking to people, you do not need to overload them with information. So many times, this is probably the one that I was like the worst at in the beginning. Somebody's like, oh, so tell me about the premium starter kit. Let me tell you everything you need to know about every single one of these oils and why you need them. And let me tell you about ER. And did you know you can make money through this? And then it's like, bro, I just wanted some essential oils or I just wanted some Deves cleaner. And you just like completely scared that person away. So it's better to listen, short response, listen, short response, listen, short response, and actually have a conversation, not like monologue. Yeah, like at this person. So those are kind of the basics. Now we're going to kind of talk about what this looks like. So Sophie's going to talk about how to start up a conversation on, never mind. My name's next to that. So I'm going to talk about how to start up a conversation on social media. So the first thing when you're starting up a conversation on social media. So when you post on social media about Young Living, a product you use or whatever, I actually had a really great conversation with somebody today because I posted about an oil that I used for my dogs during the fireworks. And she was like, oh, I really might need that for my dog. And so I was like, I responded to her and I was like, oh, I'll message you about it. So we actually are talking back and forth right now about the starter kit because it's Valor that she wants, comes in the starter kit. And I was like, well, there's actually several other oils that come in the starter kit that are great for emotions that I use on my dogs. So started talking to her about that, asking, are there any other things that you would like to use oils for? once again, it's that kind of ping pong back and forth, but it started from a post. So this is also point made. You need to be posting about this stuff, and don't be scared to do it. And it doesn't have to be the most eloquent. That post, I literally was like, the fireworks just started down the street. Somebody started putting them off. Thank you, Valor, because my dogs have not budged from the couch. The end. I didn't write like this long ode to oils and how like they've changed my life, even though they have, but it doesn't have to be all that. So anyway, so that started a really great conversation. Another time when I start up conversations on social media with people about oils is when I see somebody post about an issue that they're dealing with. I would not, like I send them a message, but I would not send them a message and start up that conversation if I didn't have a relationship with that person, because then it seems all weird, right? But these are people that like, I'm already friends with them. I'm talking to them, stuff like that. I see that they have an issue going on and I'm like, hey, I just saw your post about this. And I just wanted to let you know about something that's really worked for me or something that I think that could help. Like, can I send you some more information about it? Blah, blah, blah. And it's not weird because I'm coming from a place that I genuinely want to help that person. And that person knows me and they know that that's where I'm coming from. So it's not weird to do that, but it's weird to do that if it's like your high school friend that you haven't talked to in a bajillion years. So,
well, and even then you can like do a good throw yourself under the bus message of, so I know that this could seem like really spammy, but I saw your post and here's something that I thought of. I know we haven't talked in a while, but I didn't want to forget to mention it in case you were interested. Super normal, you know? Like, I feel like I would have received that message pretty well. I think most people would receive it well, but it's also okay if they don't. But you can kind of say things like that. So how to kind of make that a little bit more normal too.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good point.
Yeah.
And then the last thing that I typically do on social media is I typically, when I have conversations or I see people that like my posts or I see them post about an issue, I'll invite them to a class to learn more. That's typically what I do on social media more so than in person. And then that just gives you more opportunity to follow up, which we'll talk about in a minute. So Sophie's going to talk about how to talk about Young Living on a coffee date or when you're in person.
So a lot of times I think we feel like we need to have this like very stark, you know, teaching moment, like one-on-one, you know, when we think about like a coffee date. But to me, like a coffee date should be what a coffee date is. Like you talk about like a bajillion different subjects and Young Living can be part of that. But also I kind of consider if I'm having a conversation in person with somebody and I'm talking to, you know, Crystal and we're just talking about random stuff. And all of a sudden she mentions her dog's freaked out, you know, with fireworks. And I was like, oh yeah, I totally used Valor with my dogs and, you know, kind of like made that. And then there was a little bit of interest. That's when you can kind of just say, I could just buy you some coffee and we can talk a little bit more about this if you're interested. And people actually will take you up on that offer. I think that when we make it pretty normal and we bring it up in a very normal fashion, people are a little bit more like intrigued by it, as opposed to a like post, which is great, like a social media post of like, I'll take you to coffee to talk about Young Living. Well, you haven't really like brought it up. You know, you haven't really like tied it to why that person would give a crap about it, to be honest with you. Like, unless they have a dog that is freaked out, and you can kind of tie it to that, unless they deal with like insane inflammation and have acne all over their face, and you've tied like something to that. You know, you've got to kind of make it something, hit their pain point so that they're interested in talking more about it. And so that's kind of like what I like to do. I'm talking to a friend, I'm like, hey, just if you're interested, some of the things that you've talked about, there's like these 2 or 3 products I would definitely recommend. And I can go into more detail about them. I don't want to talk your ear off right now. But if you wanted to get coffee, I would totally pay for it. And we can just chit chat for like an hour. And people take me up on it. Like, it's a kind of a pretty normal thing to do. If somebody wanted to, I do foster care. So like I've done that with people too, you know, where I've said, if you want to know more, like we can totally grab coffee, you know, and I'll chit chat with you about it. And what is that? A conversation, them asking me questions, me telling them, you know, responses, like that kind of thing. So with that, one of the things that I like to do is I like to take just a few products with me. I already have like 17 oils in my purse with me, like at all times. So I can pull out some of those and let people smell them. But I also like to bring like the lip balm or, you know, the lipstick or even like a thief spray bottle. I mean, just like a couple of things, not anything super crazy with that. And I also take the EOPR, which is, Mom had it, but it is this. Does anybody not have an essential oil pocket reference guide? Okay, Crystal and Chelsea. We will talk to you about this, or I'll have Hannah talk to you about this. But this is a really, really great reference, and it is this thick. So I don't know what cargo shorts pocket they're talking about, but this does not actually fit in a pocket. But it is great. It does fit in a bag. You know, if you had a bigger like purse or something.
Always in my purse.
That's the
always
desktop.
have it in my purse.
That's the desktop reference guide that Mom has, or the desk reference
that will
guide,
give you
not
back
desktop.
pain if you carry that with you.
The pocketbook reference. Yeah. And so this is great though. So there, in the very beginning, there's a directory for single oils, for essential oil blends. Like, so you can look up lemon, you can look up thieves, you know, and kind of see all the information about them. Or there is a personal use, right? Is that what it's called? Personal use directory. Anyway. And so if it's like headache, you know, joint pain, menstrual cramps, you know, like different things like that, you can look it up and see what oils would help with that. Kind of like what Hannah talked about was like, it's nice when you're sitting there with somebody and they go, oh, like I have this issue. I'm not really sure what would help with that, but let me use this book that I use all the time and let me show you how easy it is for you to look it up. And I'm going to look up that page number and here are all, and it will show you like 17 different products, you know, and they'll see a wide range of options for them. Does that make sense? That's normal. Like, that's a normal conversation. That's not weird. It's not schemy. It's not awkward. And at that point, if somebody has agreed to go to coffee with me, I'm real blunt. Like, I'm real like, you need this. Here's why. Let's have a conversation. Tell me how you're feeling with this area. Oh yeah, you have kids. How are they doing with school? Oh yeah, when you have to sit and watch them play baseball, I'm sure your back hurts. You should totally use the CBD muscle balm. Like, I'm a little bit more blunt, but I talk in that hour. I try to talk only like 15 minutes. Like, I just listen to them and I let them talk and I really hear them out. And it's very chill, very chill. But one thing I do at the very end, and I really want to emphasize this, is I ask them, okay, so are you ready to buy? Like, are you ready to purchase? Because they went to coffee with me for a reason. Like, they, you know, they like did a little bit of effort as opposed to just casual conversation. They put a little bit of effort into it of like sitting down and talking, and I don't make them feel weird about it. I don't, you know, like, I don't do it like that or whatever. But why wouldn't I ask? You know, why wouldn't I say, okay, like, here are all these options I've given you. Are you ready to purchase? They might say no. And then we'll talk about the follow-up with that. But they also might say yes. So if you kind of are like, okay, here's all this information, but I'm not going to tell you how to do any of, you know,
how to get it.
How to get it. It's
you got to figure that out on your own.
Right. Like, what a waste of time. So anyway, make sure at the end of those types of conversations, you say, you can say, let me know if you're ever interested. I don't like that one as much, but you totally can say that. But I typically will say something along the lines of, hey, are you interested in purchasing right now? If you were to get something right now, what we talked about, what are you the most interested in? Maybe I will even say, I think you should get, you know, the essential oil starter kit and add on Life 9 to that. I think you should get the Ninja Red starter kit, and based on like what we talked about. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like it's very conversational and it's not lecture and it's not a class. One-on-ones are my favorite, not 101s, one-on-one, because it's so chill. It's so normal conversation that I'm able to just like really focus on Young Living and helping somebody. And I get a sale a lot of times with that because people are very much interested in that moment and they get a lot of your attention. So we wanted to make sure that we talked about the coffee date, because that is like, once you get that to that point, you can be a little more blunt, which is really nice. But it also will introduce a lot of chances for you to do follow-ups, and Hannah's going to talk about how to kind of do those.
So follow-up, say your coffee date, they're like, no, I'm not interested right now. Or you have a conversation with somebody and they're not interested right now. It's okay, because no just means not yet. And when you think of it that way, then you're not going to like, your feelings aren't going to get hurt, or your feelings shouldn't get hurt anyway, because they're not rejecting you. They're just saying that they don't want the thing that you like, which is whatever. But statistics, if anybody's interested in statistics, because I like numbers, 80% of sales happen in the 8th to 12th follow-up. which means like you've had this many points of contact with that person about the thing. So like if they don't, my friend that I'm talking to right now, if she doesn't get her kit right now, this is the first time I'm talking to her about oils, and it's okay. But the thing I constantly ask myself as I'm following up with these people, and there's a saying, there's power in the follow-up. And that's because if you talk to the person about the thing one time and never talk to them again, that's actually weird. That's actually sleazy, and that's not cool. But if you are just thinking of, why does this person need these products? Why should I follow up with them? Why should I keep introducing this to them and being like, hey, I think that you need this stuff. Hey, you want to come to this class? Hey, do you want to go coffee again to talk more about oils? Then you're not hounding people. You're just being a good friend, and you're just caring about people, which means you're not being weird. So one of the things that I do a lot is when I'm talking to somebody, especially like on social media, and maybe there's a kit sale going on, or maybe they mention something and I'm like, hey, are you ready to get your starter kit? This is usually like in a follow-up, and they go, no. I keep talking to them. Like I keep continuing on the conversation, and then I'm like, okay, how's your garden doing? And just keep talking to them, not like, oh, okay, well, bye. That's weird. So just keep talking to them and being their friend. And once again, like remember that no doesn't mean no. It just means that's not for them right now. They don't see the value in it yet, and they have to see that. Like you can't make them see that. They have to see it on their own. So,
and little like caveat, there might be people that like harshly shut you down. And that's okay. But right now, what we're focusing on is the people who, as you follow up, they might say things like, I don't, maybe by the next paycheck, I can get a next paycheck. That is a sign that it might take a little bit, and that's okay. They might say things like, it's just not a good time, or I just don't really know. Some of those things can clue you into what you need to like start talking about. And Hannah's going to kind of talk about a little bit of that, but it's like, that might tell you the areas of education you can help them out with and stuff. But anyway, sorry, I just want to give
so that's always my follow-up. Is just constantly either offer the products or offer education. So if I've offered the products and they're not interested in them yet, that means that I need to offer education, because they just don't know enough about it yet to have that value. So that means that I'm going to invite them to a class. And when I invite them to a class, I'm going to be like, okay, so maybe we talked about gut health. Hey, so I'm actually doing this gut health class, and it made me think of you because I know we talked about how you were dealing with whatever. Would you like to come? Or now that we are recording these classes, we have these resources that you can shoot this. Actually, the class we did last week on pets and oils, I sent that to my friend that I've been talking to be like, hey, we actually did a class on this. I can send it to you. So we have so many resources that can help you follow up. So even if they've said no to your offer of the products, continue to offer education. So finish up.
Okay, so have you guys ever heard of something called the elevator pitch? Anybody? Yes? Okay. Mindset is you're in an elevator with somebody and they look at you and go, so what do you do? And you're like, ugh, and you have like 3 floors to tell them. So that 15 seconds, whatever. Susan, you're sitting at work, you're getting some stuff done. Somebody walks in and they're like, hey, I saw your post about Young Living. What is that? Like, what is that company? It's like, to me, like sometimes it can be deer in the headlights. What do I say? So I don't recommend memorizing a whole lot. This is one thing I would kind of in your heads have something, something a little bit memorized. It's real simple. Okay. You start with like 1 teeny tiny ounce of what it is. So Young Living is a company that has a ton of like natural and chemical free products that are really just good for you, whether it's, cleaning products or makeup or supplements. Make sense? Like that was real quick. And if they ask more questions, cool, but like that gets it. If this is one of those moments where maybe somebody's walking by and they're like, hey, I've heard that you have things for like headaches, what can that be? You can kind of elevator pitch that a little bit, but our focus is a little bit more of like, what is Young Living, or what do you do? With the what do you do, I typically go the route of, well, a lot of times people don't know what the heck they're putting on their bodies or in their bodies, and I try to help them learn what that is and how best to do that. So I work for a company that sells natural chemical-free products, and I'm able to couple that with education, and I've changed a lot of people's lives. The end. That was 10 seconds, And so find a way to explain what Young Living is with like 1 sentence, and then find a way to apply that to why the crap they would care. You know, you might know nothing about that person. I have talked to complete strangers about it. I have talked to friends of mine about it. It can go either way. With friends, you can make it just a tiny bit more personal, but really it should be able to go either way. I highly recommend you have something prepared, because you will get smacked with I saw your post about Young Living, so what is that? And you'll go, 17 minutes later you're done, you know, and it's like, crap, I just information overloaded them. So you kind of want it to be I stopped by your cubicle real fast to ask something, they mentioned it, and then I leave, you know, like you just really want it to be a really chill thing, because you want them asking questions based on what you said. You want them pursuing you for more information. You don't want to be dumping on them. So how to explain the products, how to explain your business. Like that is kind of what you want the elevator pitch to be. So basically what I said was what Young Living does. And what does Young Living do? I'm not going to actually make you guys repeat it, but natural chemical-free products like cleaning, makeup. Chelsea's literally like,
she's like, I'm memorizing this whole thing right now.
So you kind of want to go that direction, and then maybe apply as far as like, what do you do? And I use that information to help people know what they're putting on in their bodies so that they can, you know, help whatever ailments they might have. Something, you know, and that's it. It's 10 to 15 seconds. So you kind of want your elevator pitch, your everyday conversation, you know, your core products to talk to kind of have in your brain of like, if somebody mentions anything, I can just say at least Ninja, you know, so elevator pitch, your core products during everyday conversation, your coffee date, your, you know, ask for the sale, follow up, you know, all that kind of stuff. It's like different areas, but they build, you know, elevator pitch is this small little thing, and then it builds and then it builds, you know, and so it just gets a little bit bigger.
But it's honestly all built the same way.
Right, but it's all the same. So it's like, I might say natural chemical-free products in my elevator pitch, but when I'm talking to somebody like one-on-one and they've told me a few things, I might really be like, their makeup, seed to seal, you know, like I might really like hone in on one area and like expound upon it. But it's the same information. So does that make sense? I hope we were trying not to do information overload with you guys, like we were suggesting not to, but I know that can be a little bit much because we are trying to simplify it, but also give good examples. So that's all we have for this one. So please ask questions. Did you have anything you want us to expound upon? Did you want to practice your elevator pitch? You know, whatever.
What scares you the most?
Yeah. In those categories.
Just talking to people, because I really am not a people person.
What do you do for work?
Well, I actually work in communications, which is kind of funny, but that's over a radio though, so I don't really like have to be like face to face with people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm like an emergency response, like radio type person. So.
Gotcha. So, okay, but you guys do CG together, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We do Camp
Okay,
Gladiator.
so like Camp Gladiator, you're hanging around talking to people. You're just having normal like I'm freaking cold because it's February and we're out here like freaks, you know, working out conversations, right? You know, like that's normal. You might be like, oh, where did you get your mat? Oh, I got my mat at Target. Oh, that's really cool. As you're spraying yours down with thieves cleaner, you know, like that kind of thing. And they're like, well, what's that? Oh, this is thieves cleaner. It's natural and chemical free. It's nice because if it touches my skin, my hands, like I know it's going in my body. Oh, that's really cool. I've never thought about that. The end, you know, that's it. So that's where it's like, I think sometimes we are like, I have to be on. And it's like,
yeah.
You're going to see them next time you work out. You don't have to have the whole freaking conversation now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
And in the in-between time, do kind of what Hannah does with the Ninja Red stuff, you know, posting about it, talking about it and stuff, because you never know. They might ask you about it. But just kind of consider like, what areas of my life do I interact with people? Maybe have something great. I don't know. I use the product so much that it's just kind of easy at this point to talk about, because I can just say, oh yeah, I use that here, here, and here, you know, and it just comes out.
So she had somebody come this past weekend and cat sit, and they came over to like see where everything was. And in the time that they were here like 5 minutes. I kid you not. She plugged Young Living 3 times because she's like, yeah, so if you wouldn't mind on 4th of July that night, if you could turn on my diffuser. Because we put oils in there that will help calm the cats. And then she's like, yeah, the bags for the litter, they're under here with all my thieves. And there's one more thing you did, and I was just like, when they left, I go, are they members? And she goes, no. And I go, you did good. But she just like plugged it in. It was goofy, but it was authentically her, and they weren't like weirded out by it. And she was weird, but like her normal kind of weird, not like weird. So it just worked.
Yeah.
So plug your stuff, which means you got to bring your stuff with you. You got to use the stuff. You got to have it out around your house.
You gotta buy
All that
it.
jazz. You got to buy it.
Yeah.
Crystal, you look like you got some ideas down there.
Well, and Lindsay on
Oh, Lindsay
Lindsay.
first. Sorry, Lindsay.
Lay it on us.
No, I was gonna say like, yeah, take your products with you. That was like the easiest way to get started for me because I had stuff with me. So like at work, somebody had a headache. I'm like, here, do you want to try this oil, this roller I have for headaches? And because I'm a believer that like I want people to like what they buy. So like, hey, I have it on me, try it. Like, see if you like it.
Sometimes that somebody has been like talking to me and I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds really stressful. And I really just I would hate for you to be
This is what I'm talking about. Weird. It's weird, but it's not weird.
I don't do it that way. Don't worry. I am very normal with it.
No,
But yeah, exactly what Lindsay talked about. Even like handing something to like, oh, you have this ailment here. I literally have an option for you right now, and you're just being a helpful friend.
yeah, exactly. Because I don't want my coworker to go through having a headache all day. And a lot of times, like, people are like, hey, does anyone have any Advil? And I'm like, hey, I have some oils. Do you want to try that? It helps me within like 20 minutes. So that, and I wanted to add too, again, what they said about, you don't have to know everything. I know so many people think that like, I can't do this because I don't know the answers to questions and I don't know all the things, but literally like this is amazing. And us, like asking us questions, asking questions in our Facebook groups for oil support, for Young Living product support. I go in our Facebook group and like use the search bar all the time on like bug bites, pet something, like pregnancy, not that I'm pregnant, but that comes up all the time. But like if I have a friend that like has a baby, I don't know a whole lot about babies, but I know resources. I have this book, Gentle Babies book. I haven't read it, but I have it if I need it. If I'm meaning to read it, but
It is a really good book and it's a pretty quick read. So that's my little plug for it.
That as my reference if I have people asking me about stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know all the answers, but I know where to find them.
Okay, so quick question, couple questions. Who has right now in their like purse or their bag, like I have a backpack I carry basically everywhere, who has Young Living products or even just a single one in their bag that they take with them everywhere? Like purse, bag, whatever. Okay, great. Like seriously, great. Like that's your biggest success right now. Like I'm so proud that everyone just raised their hands. You guys are already ahead of like a ton of Young Living members who just don't even carry it with them. Don't even have them. Because I'm sitting there going, I would have a panic attack if I didn't have it with me.
Literally.
You never know. Yeah. You never know when a panic attack could hit. You would never know when a headache can hit. You never know like when your throat's just going to all of a sudden be sore and then get like worse, that kind of stuff. My next question is, who works and has like an office, like room office that is your own? Does anybody have anything like that? Even if you're not going in right now because of Corona, like even if you're not going in. Okay. So Crystal, you have one. Susan, do you have your own office?
I just muted us.
Oh. I will once I start my new job.
Okay. And then Susan, sorry, I didn't hear Susan's answer. Do you? Okay, so you have a cubicle.
So I'm not in the office.
Yeah, no, you're totally fine. So I have my own like close my door office, and I have a ton of oils in there. My friend my coworker calls it the apothecary. And so she's like, hey, I need to come to the apothecary later. Dr. Payne, can you help me with, like period cramps or like whatever it is that she's dealing with? And I'm like, yep. And she walks in and I have all of them displayed and I'm kind of like picking through and I'll even have my EOPR out, whatever. So if you have an office, I highly recommend setting that up, because you can never ever say a word about Young Living, but they will smell it or they will see it, and that's huge. So if you have that opportunity, I definitely, recommend taking that opportunity. Susan, I don't know, like with the Cubicle Life, if you're allowed to diffuse, but you can at least have your roller bottles displayed, and then you just roll them on you, so you can at least have those out so that people, it's just that visual. Like if you have it visible, then they could ask you, and then you can elevator pitch them. You know what I mean? And that's just a really easy opportunity where they are the ones who kind of reached out with the question. It wasn't you being like, do you see my rollers?
That's weird.
Yes. Yes. What were you asking Crystal earlier?
I was asking Crystal looked like she had some ideas down there.
Yeah.
We haven't heard from her yet.
Please know that I was just doing a pitch to my sister-in-law. So she is makeup fanatic. And so I was sitting here, I was like, oh, Savvy, because she was writing me about my mom's hair color, because my mom just changed her hair color. And so I said, oh, by the way, I said, ask my brother if you can get his credit card for research purposes, because there's this new makeup that I need you to try, because she has a blog, she has a YouTube, I'm trying to show you a picture. She has a blog, she has
Oh my gosh. You can already tell
doesn't
that's
show
like
her
a
real good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She
Yeah. So she loves makeup. So, and then the fact that she tries stuff sometime and it breaks her out.
Yeah.
Or she'll have some weird allergic reaction. So this is perfect. So I'm trying to get her to.
Or, and something you could pitch to her to make it a little bit less, hey, you buy this right now. I mean, she still should purchase, she still should get it. You could do a, hey, would you do a look and do a review on your channel? And then it's not as much commitment for her as far as like she has to do just Savvy gung ho. It's, she already does that with other products that are, or there's other brands.
so it's normal.
Right. So kind of doing if you would buy this, then I'll give you the other parts that I have, whatever you want to do with that. And then once again, it's just a normal conversation.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. But that's awesome. Like, kudos to you for thinking about that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was just sitting here like, la, 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 la.
Crystal can talk to people, man.
Yes.
I can. Now, getting them on board is the hurdle, but talking, I can talk.
All right. Now, raise of hands. Who has posted about anything Young Living in the last 7 days? That can be Instagram stories. It can be Instagram. It can be Facebook. It can be Facebook stories. Anybody? I actually haven't. That's what's funny. I've been off of social media though, so it's fine.
Sophie's a slacker.
Today was like the first post I ever did. I've done in a while, and it was about the word irregardless.
Irregardless is not a word.
Irregardless. You can kiss my
Look
butt.
at all these heads. Nope.
Ask me how much I give a crap about what other people think about it. But anyway, so sorry. Raise your hand if you have done a post about Young Living in the last 7 days. Joyce, Hannah, Peggy, Lindsay. All right.
iPad,
Crystal, and Chelsea. I am challenging guys. You can do what Hannah did. Post a picture of a dog and talk about the oil. Post a picture of your own face and talk about the makeup. Take a picture of like even just you smiling and you talk about stress away, like, and how it's just made you feel really good this week. Or maybe post a like fun picture of your sunglasses and talk about how you can't wait to go on vacation with your
sunscreen.
Yeah, your mineral sunscreen. Does that make sense? Like, but post either a post, a Instagram story, something, because those conversations can only start happening when you put yourself out there and you just own the fact that you have these products that you absolutely love. So Susan, you're right there. You're right there for me. You're probably not right there for you. Susan, Chelsea, and Crystal. Okay, you guys got it? Yes? Yes? You're going to do it?
Throw down.
You're going to do it? All right.
Throw down with Sophie Payne.
Guys, the part that we talked about with social media conversations, it cannot happen unless you do that. So you gotta start doing it. It's gonna feel real freaking awkward at first. It's gonna feel really weird. You're not gonna know how you want to word it, how to have your voice, but you won't ever figure that out if you don't just start doing it.
And a point about that too is there's times where I don't get a lot of engagement on a post about oils, but the next time I see somebody in person, they ask me about it. Hey, I saw your post. So don't get discouraged if nobody's liking your post, or people are seeing it regardless. Irregardless, they're seeing it. So irregardlessly,
irregardless of your opinions on why you shouldn't, you should
do it because people are gonna ask you about it. They're gonna see it.
Yes, that was such a good point.
I like how that tied into your dumb word.
I was gonna say too, because in the beginning I literally told Sophie, I was like, I don't want to post on social media. I'm not doing it. And Peggy too. Like they were like, I mean, okay, we're not gonna push you, but your business won't grow so much. And literally just within like the past like couple months, I've been posting more regularly, and I've gotten so much more business because of it. And I'm like, why didn't I do this before? But also I just needed to grow in confidence, and like it was just something that I needed to grow in. But yeah, I'm definitely a firm believer in the social media life now. So
one of the things I've noticed with Lindsay is the more that she types up a post here, the easier it is for her to like talk about it out loud. You know what I mean? And that's how I operate as well. So it's like if I sit and I articulate something a certain way, then it's like churning in my brain a little bit more, so that when I'm like seeing somebody and I'm talking to them about it, it's been there, and so then it's like easier to talk about. So either if you're good at verbally talking about it but not so good social media wise, then work on that social media wise because it'll benefit your verbal. If you're good at the social media but not so good at the verbal, well, continue to work on that social media but work on that verbal, because that'll start influencing your social media. They do. Yeah. So you guys in the next 7 days are going to post, right, about Young Living? Susan, yes?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Crystal, Chelsea? Okay, good.
we'll help
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, if you need to bounce ideas off of us, that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to figure out how do I need to say this, that's why we're here.
Okay.
We do it for each other. Like, sorry, mom would like to say something.
I was just gonna say, along with what Lindsay was saying, yes, Lindsay kept telling us, I don't like social media, and we kept going, come on, Lindsay, you can do it. And when she would do it, we were like, you're doing a great job, and we meant it. But she really, really has taken off recently. But we said to her, and I'm gonna say this to you as well, to ourselves, find your voice. Because, and I'll tell you something I did just yesterday. I saw somebody else's post. I literally pulled up my computer and had their post in front of me. I took my own pictures, put my own pictures in, took her words, changed them to my words, and just basically copied her post. And I've talked to her before. I don't do that. I don't steal people's posts without talking to them. But she was like, anytime, girl, you go ahead. Because you're going to find there's people out there that sound like you sound, or that you resonate with, or whatever. Don't feel badly about copying, or anybody on here. If you're following Hannah, for instance,
You have to pay.
Peggy's copied one of my posts before.
You have to pay me for the right to use my words.
Excuse me, Hannah. You just did some graphics yesterday using a chart I posted in my story for part of your information.
Touche. But you didn't make that post either, so you don't get cred.
I credited who I got it from, though, because I shared it.
Anyway, that was great. That was great advice.
Well, and what was funny is today I saw a portion of my copy of hers, which were my words, not hers, in somebody else's post, and I'm like, that is so flattering. It's really flattering when somebody actually grabs your words and uses them. And the thing is, you don't want to look like everybody else. We don't want to use the same graphics all over the place. We really want to try, as Hannah was saying with her, I saw her dog's post, dog's sitting on the couch. Now, I did a post about my dog also, and she was sitting on the floor, and I talked about using Peace and Calming. Now, I did another post where I was showing the pet CBD, and I actually very strategically didn't show the pet part because we don't have that label anymore. So I just wanted it to show the CBD. And I showed my dog in the background just talking about how she was running outside during fireworks and able to run and stuff. So, you know, I will see ideas and I will want to kind of like copy right away. Sometimes I don't copy right away, but grab ideas from other people. It's flattering. It really, really is. But don't take their picture and post it on your thing and say the same words, especially if you've got the same pool of people, because that looks MLM-y, you know.
That's weird.
So, anyways, I want to kind of end it out because it is 6 minutes until the hour and I don't want us going over. So, does anybody have any last minute questions? Because otherwise we will end it here. Anything?
I don't have any questions, but I wanted to say something real quick. I thought it was funny because I was trying to think of ways to post and stuff too, and I used one of your tips from one of the last classes, the purification in the cat litter, and I was like, well, I'm not posting that on Facebook or whatever, but I was like, it really worked. Like, oh my God, that was freaking life changer right there. Like, my cat litter does not stink anymore. I am so excited. But I'm like, I'm not going to post that, but I wanted to say kudos to you guys because
you could post a picture of your cat. You could post a picture of your cat and in the caption talk about it. You don't have to
Be
post
like,
a
I
picture
love
of the
my
doo-doo.
cat, but man,
That's
does the
true.
litter box stink until.
Right, that's true. But
That's awesome.
but
I'm
yeah,
glad
so I
it
was saying,
helped.
so thank you for that because it was awesome.
Awesome. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for coming tonight. I hope this helped. Crystal and Chelsea, obviously you can reach out to any of us, but you have a group chat now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so in your group chat, that would be a great place for you to just like ask for, you know, suggestions and stuff like that. Susan, iPad, you can hit us up. You can definitely like message me. Obviously you have Lindsay there. You guys can refine a really good, you know, post, whatever. But in the next 7 days, I better be double tapping on some posts of y'all's, okay? But thank you so much for coming. I hope this helped. Hope this gave you a little bit more confidence and clarity on how to handle those very just chill, relaxed conversations with people while also like kind of handling them with confidence. Let us know if you have any questions, but you guys have a great night. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, guys. Bye.